All right, so we are now continuing our conversation and actually finishing our conversation about weighted importance sampling. In this in this video, we're sort of going to go over our code that implements weighted importance sampling, exactly the same code we had in the notes. But we are also going to compare importance sampling, as in simple importance sampling, and weighted importance sampling in an example where both can be implemented. And this is an example we've already seen so far already. Um, but we're going to go through the weighted importance sampling and importance sampling, both of them together. So the first sort of chunk of code is the same exact example where our interest is in estimating integral of this xy e to the power sine xy, right? Um, and this is the integral we were interested in the weighted importance sampling paradigm, where the integral was over 0 to 1, 0 to 1, 0 to pi, 0 to pi. And so the way we went about doing this is we created a function, WIS, where this function just takes one argument, which is the number of importance samples that we want. The first line of the code over here says, well, go ahead and get the importance sampling steps. And so this is going to be draws from the importance sampling proposal. Okay. And so what this does is gets n draws, but 2 times n draws, because we have one draw for each component x and each component y. So we have 2 different draws. So it gets the tuple draws. And then the first n of those is associated to x, and the last n is associated to y. Now this we can do because the R unit function produces IID samples, so this can be done without any hassle. And then the weights in this regard is just going to be e to the power sine xy, right? Because that's just f by g, that's just the weights. And I can get the weights is just being the weights and samples being the C-bind or the matrix form of the x and the y's, because those are the samples that I've gotten. So this function returns not the actual estimate, but the weights and the actual samples. And together, these two can be used to estimate the actual integral using the formula for the weighted importance sampling estimator. So what does that look like? Well, if I look at the code here, so let me run this line. So I run it with the seed. And then what I'm going to do is I know that the weighted importance sampling estimator's formula is one average divided by the other average. So it's the sum of h of x, f of x by g of x unnormalized divided by the sum of just f of x by g of x unnormalized. And so that's really what I'm doing here. I'm taking the average up top of the samples, the first column of the samples, which is the x, times the second column, which is the y. So this part is my function h of x, or h of x comma y, times the weights, which is f tilde divided by g tilde, divided by the mean of the actual weights, right? So these are unnormalized weights, if you recall. And I run this, and turns out I can look at the estimate. The estimate turns out to be 2.148, which is very close to the actual truth, which in this case is roughly 2.15. So we went through this in the PDF already, so I don't want to spend too much time on this. Hopefully this is clear as to what's going on. But what I wanted to do in this video was compare the performance of importance sampling and weighted importance sampling using code. So the function we're going to look at, or the example we're going to look at, is actually the example of, so let me write that here, using example estimating the moments of gamma alpha gamma beta using another gamma imp dot alpha beta proposal, right? And this is the code we saw last week in the regular importance sampling or simple importance sampling when we were discussing optimal proposals. And this was the exact function that we had coded, almost the exact function, where now this function takes the same arguments as before, the number of samples, alpha, beta, the moment I want to estimate, and in fact, this argument is not going to be used in the code, and imp.alpha, which is the shape parameter of the proposal distribution. The code does the following things. It draws the actual samples from the proposal, and then, remove this, it just calculates the weights, which is F by G. Now, in this case, these are already normalized. So in this case, I know f of x exactly. There are no unknown constants because f of x is just the gamma density. And I know g of x exactly because there are no unknown constants. So this is an example where we have already implemented simple importance sampling. So there is no reason to do weighted importance sampling. However, as we'll see that there are instances where weighted importance sampling can actually be better than simple importance sampling, which is what we're going to see today. So what the things that are returned are, again, the weights as in the previous code and the actual samples which were stored in draw. Okay. Again, so we're not returning fn dot value is what we called last time, which is the whole vector of h times f by g, because I want to use the weights and the draws together to estimate both the simple importance sampling estimator and the weighted importance sampling estimator. So I run this. Okay, and I should do a set.seed, comma 1 over here because I would like you and I to replicate it exactly. Now I'm going to do the following thing. So I am going to run 100 different simple importance sampling and weighted importance sampling repetitions. So that means in each repetition or replication, I will go and obtain 1000 important samples and obtain the estimate from those 1000 important samples. Okay. Now, but I will do this 100 times, which is why reps is 100. For each of those 100 times, I will look at what is the running average of my final estimate. Okay, so what I mean by that is let me just run these lines. So I've set it up so that there's a seed that's been set. I know the replications I'm going to do is 100. I know the length of the importance sampling paradigm in each replication will be 1000. And every time I run it, my actual final value will be saved in ests, in the some sort of rth location of ests. But then what I do is I create an empty plot over here. Right? So that one line is going to create an empty plot where on the y-axis, I'm going to have running estimates. And on the x-axis, I'm going to have sample size or importance sampling sample size. Now, for each r in 1 through reps, which means for 100 times, I'm going to do whatever is inside the loop. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and get my run my function imp underscore gamma, which implements the importance sampling paradigm. What is the length in each of these runs? It's capital N, which I have declared to be 1000 before. And the actual value of the proposal I want is imp.alpha equals 10. Okay, so this is definitely not the optimal for simple importance sampling because we know the simple importance sampling to estimate the second moment, the optimal is 6 in this particular case where my first argument is 4. Okay, so it's 4 plus 2, which is 6. But I'm going to run it with importance.alpha or imp.alpha, the shape parameter of the proposal distribution being 10. Once this is done, then I know output is an object that is a list. The list has 2 components. It has the component weights and it has the component samples. Weights contains weights, samples contains the actual draws or the samples. And so in my weighted importance sampling, my numerator is going to be output samples squared, because I'm interested in the second moment, times the weight. So this will be edge of x times the weight. And the denominator is just going to be the weights, right? Or the average of the weights. But I'm going to plot a running sum or a cumulative sum. So I use the cumulative sum argument so that at every value of n, I have a corresponding value of what the final estimator looks like. And when I do this, I then draw a line for the cumulative sum for that repetition. Okay, so I can run all of this now. going to take a second. And this is basically what we end up getting. For imp.alpha, each of these lines represents a replication of what is the running estimate as sample size increases for the target thing that I'm trying to estimate. Okay. Now, as you can see, as n increases, this gets thinner and thinner, which means that typically we are going to expect convergence. And all of these are sort of decreasing down. So we will expect convergence to happen. Okay. That's the first thing we see. And we also see that, as sample size increases, we're getting, thinner and thinner area, thinner and thinner estimates. And that's, again, exactly what we'd observe, because as my sample size increases, the variance should be getting smaller. But now I can also do the same thing for important sampling, or simple important sampling, where I get my samples or my weights and my samples, but because these are perfectly normalized densities, I don't need the denominator term. The denominator term should, in fact, just be very close to 1. In fact, exactly 1. So I don't need the denominator term. I can just take the numerator term, and an average of the numerator term should just be my important sampling estimate. Now, if this is unclear to you, pause the video, go back to the actual formula and verify what I'm saying. Right? And at this point, this should be clear to you. If it's not clear, then please go back and review the formulas and see what this looks like. Okay, so once I do this, again, I'm going to do a cumulative sum because I want this running estimate. I don't want to just find it for one value of n, but a running value of n. Okay, and I'm going to run this now, again, for all of those R replications. But now my lines are going to be drawn in blue. And now you see that in general, the important sampling or simple important sampling run is tighter or thinner, more thinner than the red implementation, which is weighted important sampling. There are a few outliers, that's probably due to randomness, but in general, I'm going to expect this to work, the simple important sampling, to work better because I know that they're much tighter around what the truth is, the truth in this case indicated by 0.2 in blank, which is just going to show up over here. Okay, so this is perfectly clear to us now, and it makes sense because we understand simple important sampling to be better when we can use it. This is not always true though, because if I change imp.alpha to be 1, so now I'm saying that the proposal shape parameter is 1, okay? And my target is 4, and my optimal for simple important sampling is 6. But I'm going to choose a proposal with shape parameter 1. Now, if I run this, that's pretty good. I've gotten lower in the beginning, so I start out really well. And then for weighted important sampling, and this is what simple important sampling ends up looking like. So you see, now simple important sampling has much larger variability, particularly in the beginning. And you can see there's a lot more chaos happening in simple important sampling in the beginning. Eventually, it starts getting stabilized, but certainly not more than weighted important sampling. Right? So in this case, for this choice of proposal, turns out weighted important sampling will do significantly better than simple important sampling. Right? So it is not true that you should always do simple important sampling if simple important sampling can be done. There are many, many examples where magically weighted important sampling can actually be better. Now, what happens if I do imp.alpha equals 6? Now recall, imp.alpha equals 6 is the optimal proposal for simple important sampling. Okay, so that should work great. But if I use it for weighted important sampling and I run this, I see it works fairly well, but notice that when I used this imp.alpha equals 6 for simple important sampling, there was absolutely no variability in my estimate. I can verify that again if I just run this and plot the lines. And you see what, I don't know if it's visible, let me see if I can increase this. But you see the blue line, the blue curves are just a line. And that's because there is no variability. When I use imp.alpha equals 6, recall from the previous R video from last week that this is an exact sampler because it's the absolute optimal. But what's the key thing to note here is that the optimal proposal for simple importance sampling need not be the optimal proposal for the weighted importance sampling. Further, the optimal proposal for the simple importance sampling, if it produces zero variance, need not produce zero variance, actually will not produce zero variance for the weighted importance sampling. Okay, so we don't see any variability in the blue, but we still see variability in the red, even though the red is an optimal proposal, so to say, for the simple importance sampling. Okay, so that's just something to keep in mind, that optimality is only a sort of understanding. The optimality results that we have obtained is only as they pertain to simple importance sampling and not as they pertain to weighted importance sampling. Okay, we have not studied optimality results for weighted importance sampling. We don't know what the optimal proposals for weighted importance sampling are. There is literature out there, but that's not something that we've been able to cover in this particular course. Okay, so hopefully this makes a little bit more sense as to the fact that you can actually use weighted importance sampling even when simple importance sampling can be implemented. WIS can actually be a little better than usual simple importance sampling.